You ever get those ridiculous social media scams where people pretend to be somebody you're friends with and tell you you can make a lot of money? I know I do. It's why I'm very excited to partner with today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an easy-to-use app that essentially packages a bunch of services to stay safe online all in one. Aura protects you from scammers and hackers. They scan the web for all sorts of data leaks and alert you as soon as they find anything. Aura is like the offensive line for a quarterback, consistently offering you protection from suspicious and malicious activity. They have a VPN built in that keeps your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. They'll even alert you if someone's trying to open up a credit card or a loan in your name. Did I mention they protect all your devices from viruses, malware, spyware, and any other things so the bad guys can't break in? Aura can even manage what your kids do on their devices. You can set limits and restrict them from specific apps. They have a password manager as well, so you don't have to rely on an outdated Rolodex or that sticky note that's been on your desk forever. There are apps that do all of these things, but there isn't one that tackles everything the way Aura does, which is why I say Aura is a 5-man offensive line and you're the quarterback. So head on over to aura.com/JKB. You can find it in the description and start your free trial today. All right. Live again. We did a March Madness themed live stream. I already, picked my bracket and everything live. We did that about an hour ago or so. So now this news just dropped. For those of you who are just joining in, welcome. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Wednesday night. Coleman Shelton has signed a 2-year deal with the LA Rams. Now, I understand some of you might be like, well, I didn't even know Coleman Shelton was gone. So Coleman Shelton, fun thing here, he signed a deal. I believe it was a 2-year deal initially. And he signed this deal with the intention of being able to opt out if he had a really good year. And so he had a really good year, and he does not get enough credit. Obviously it wasn't like the best year, and a lot of the reason is because of what was around him, the injuries and whatnot, the fact he suffered injuries, although he played 13 out of 17 games despite those injuries. But this is a definition of, hey, you go out and you it's a prove it deal, right? It's a, you bet on yourself. And he signed a deal with an opt out in his second year, and he opts out, and then he comes back and he has a 2-year deal now. A more expensive 2-year deal, right? So he made more money. The Rams really like him at guard and center, and I think he is your starting right guard next year. So I think the Rams go in probably Alec Jackson at left tackle, Nobum at left guard, center's Brian Allen, right guard is Coleman Shelton, and right tackle is Rob Havenstein. The issue, guys, wasn't that offensive line. The issue last year was the fact that they were always banged up. The issue last year was the fact that they had to start like 16 different offensive linemen, played 16 different offensive linemen, start like 14. The issue was the fact that the injuries ate the offensive line alive. So this is a good move. I understand some people will not be happy to see that, they're going to be sticking with pretty much a same type of look as last year on the offensive line. I wouldn't say it's the same. I think they probably start off that way, at least going into camp. But I think they're going to add guys via the draft. I think there's definitely a chance they bring back, either Tyan Secchi, who, was really good last year, probably the best overall offensive lineman according to PFF that the Rams had. But I think there's definitely a chance they do that. I think there's a chance that they go out and, the third or maybe even the second wave of free agency, they sign somebody in the offensive line. There are some interesting guys that I'd definitely be all over if I was, the general manager for the Rams. I think there's plenty of guys out there you could get for good value. Dalton Risner is a guy that I'm very interested to see where he goes. I don't know if the Rams would necessarily go after him, but that would be a fun piece there. Calvin Anderson, also both from the Broncos. And then we'll have to monitor the whole Garrett Bowles thing, because there was like I mentioned early on in the offseason before free agency really kicked off, the Broncos are interested in trading Garrett Bowles. And if they don't find a suitor and they end up cutting him, it'd be interesting there. In addition to that, you talk about Taylor Lewan. We don't know where he's going to go. Maybe, he's in play. So, different, avenues they could go, of course. And, I really like this move. For those of you who don't know, I really like Coleman Shelton. I think he's a better center, to be honest with you, than Brian Allen. Brian Allen's not a bad center, but he is getting paid a decent amount. And I honestly would prefer, Coleman Shelton at center. We don't have an idea of what this deal is, though. So I like it for the fact that it brings back Coleman Shelton. But the problem is I don't know what the number is. It brings back Coleman Shelton, but what is that number? And that does matter, So I think that's that's something we'll figure out, or we'll find out soon. The Rams just announced it. It was only announced by the Rams. Jordan Rodriguez confirmed it, but none of the national, mainstream media or anybody reported this, just the Rams official Twitter account. So right now, the offensive line, the way it looks, no boom. You got Alec Jackson, you got Tremaine Ankrum, Brian Allen, Coleman Shelton, Logan Bruss, Zach Thomas, Rob Havenstein, and A.J. Arcuri currently on the roster. So if you're doing the math there, based on that, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you only have 9 offensive linemen on this roster. There's going to be more players for sure. That they go and they try to acquire on the offensive line, whether that be through the draft, rookie free agency, regular free agency, bringing back, David Edwards is certainly a possibility. He is a free agent. Matt Skura is a free agent. Ty Nsekhe's a free agent. Chandler Brewer's technically a free agent. I think he'll be back. Ode Abushi is a free agent. So one could expect them to bring back at least Chandler Brewer, maybe Ode Abushi, and maybe David Edwards. We'll see with Edwards. That's going to be tough because of his concussions. So, that's something we'll have to monitor. But yeah, I like what they did there. I don't like most of what they've done this offseason. It's, it's the meme with the tape. I always forget the sticky tape, flex tape, where the infomercial guy is like, he's all the problems, right? So all the problems here, it's like you got rid of Ramsey, you got rid of Floyd, you got rid of Wagner, you have no cap space, and then you throw a Coleman Shelton on there. Obviously, Coleman Shelton doesn't fix everything, but I do like the move, and I like bringing back Hoyt, and they did bring back some other guys as well today. But nobody big. They haven't made a signing yet, like a real free agent signing. And in addition to that, we're still waiting on, David Edwards. So I think it's a good move. I wouldn't go too crazy about it, but I think you can definitely expect it to be the same offensive line as last year. And I don't know if that's a bad thing. I really don't. If Nopum stays healthy and he plays, left guard or whatever, but if they bring back Edwards, then it's different, whatever. But if he plays left guard and then you have Alaric at left tackle, I probably would go with that. I think Alaric Jackson should be the left tackle of the future. What we've seen from him, he's looked really good. And he hasn't had a ton around him. because when he comes in, it's like when everybody's nicked up. So, I don't know. I'd say Alaric Jackson's a guy that I'm really excited about long term. And then I'm curious to see how well A.J. Arcuri, develops. Logan Bruss, 3rd round pick from last year. I mean, he was the first pick that they made. The headline of their draft class. I know he tore his ACL, but I'm not out on him, So, certainly interesting there. As far as the defense goes, they brought back Hoyt, like I mentioned. They have Jonah Williams, they have Bobby Brown, they have Aaron Donald, Laurel Murchison, Ernest Brown the 4th, and they have TJ Carter, defensive line. They let the secondary TJ Carter go. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defensive linemen. For outside linebacker, they have Daniel Hardy, Keir Thomas, Michael Hoyt, and Zach Van Valkenburg. Those are their outside linebackers, so they have 4 at the moment. There will definitely be more there. Inside backer, you have Ernest Jones, Christian Roseboom, and Jake Hummel. Roseboom was brought back. Secondary, you have Robert Rochelle, Darion Kendrick, Sean Jolly was brought back. And of course, you have Jacoby Durant, who's going to headline that cornerback room. Safety, Jordan Fuller, Russ Yeast, Richard LeCount, and Quentin Lake are your safeties. And they need a punter, a kicker, and a long snapper because Matt Gay's gone. We talked about that. He went to the Colts, back to the Colts. I believe that's where he was at one point. And the Packers signed long snapper Matt Orzech. So they signed him. We'll see how much he gets because I don't think that they said how much he gets yet. And I'm very curious to see if the Rams end up getting a compensatory pick for their long snapper because he's getting a 3-year deal. Like if that's a decent amount of money, they could get a comp pick for that. I'll be answering questions in just a sec. I'm just going to bring up the compensatory picks according to Over the Cap right now. And as of right now, let's see where we're at. Over the Cap is projecting the Rams to have 2 6th-round compensatory picks. As it stands right now, Baker Mayfield and Matt Gay. Doesn't look like they have Orzech. I don't think they're going to get one for Orzech. I think that's wishful thinking. But still, plenty of guys. Nick Scott has a favorable market. Wouldn't be surprised if they get a decent comp pick for him. Greg Gaines is definitely going to have a good market. So they should get a decent comp pick for him as well as Ashawn Robinson. So, and then you have Taylor Rapp, who I'm sure a team is going to pay a decent amount to because safeties are getting paid. So, look, where am I on the Rams as far as compensatory picks? I think Matt Gay and Baker Mayfield are 6th rounders at the end of the day. I think that's what they stay at. Then you look at, the 5th round is probably when I'm going to go with Gaines, Ashawn, and Rapp get fit. So I think the Rams will end up with, I think you can only have 5 is the maximum. I'm going to check right now. The maximum is 4. Okay. So the Rams will have 4. They'll probably have 3 5ths and a 6th. So that's kind of where we're at this point. But yeah, I would imagine they're going to have compensatory picks. They're going to be in play. It may not be the best, but they will get some. They didn't get a lot. The Baker Mayfield contract wasn't quite as big as we were hoping, just because he's not going to get the biggest compensatory selection. Probably just looking at a 6th rounder there, and that might even get canceled out. But I at the end of the day, I just think. You're going to have picks, okay? It's not going to be great. They're not getting a 3rd round or anything looking at this, but they'll get, they'll get some picks. So, let's see here. All right, let's start taking some questions. So, now is the time. If you guys want to answer, if you guys want to, ask questions, I'm going to put them up on the screen. Probably won't be live too long. I just wanted to go live and talk a little bit about this. But woohoo, LOL. Yeah, I get it. I totally get that sentiment. I get it. There hasn't been a lot to really be happy about. This might be the only, besides Hoyt being tendered, this might be the only good thing that they did. Why do I feel like the Rams are like, let's just take the L this year? Kind of how they are. I still think they can be competitive on the offense. I think that's what they think as well. So they're looking at more just being competitive on the offense. I hope no one thinks the Rams will actually be good in 2024. This remodel thing is whack. A full rebuild is inevitable within a next 2 to 3 years. Hopefully they start it this year. Sure seems like they're starting it this year, or at least on the defensive side. You're crying for real? Sorry to hear that. Or are you happy crying? Biggest signing ever. Sign Zeke and draft Tremere, three-headed monster right there. I would not take a running back, and I definitely don't think they're going to sign Zeke Elliott. I think they're good with Cam Akers and Kyron Williams, and they'll probably bring in another running back, but they like those two a lot. Wow, this will solve our issues and won't let Stafford get killed. Yeah, it might solve one of them. I'm glad he's coming back as well. Yeah, I could see that. No, the Bengals just got Orlando Brown, so you're not going to be able to match up to them. But keep in mind, the Bengals have Burrow on a rookie deal. They have Mixon on a rookie deal. Jamar Chase on a rookie deal. T. Higgins on a rookie deal. When they have to start paying those players, they might fall off too. That's very real, so keep that in mind. Other teams are going through the same thing. They're taking advantage of their young rookie players. That's why hitting on those picks, it gives you about 4 years if you hit on them because they're cheap, they're young. Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect storm. What's up, LA Rams? What do you mean high ankle sprains? Hit the like. Yes, please do. Please be sure to hit the thumbs up, also known as the like button. We have 26 in here, 26 likes. We have 134 people in here. So please be sure to hit that like button for me. Really does help out the video. The channel pushes this in the algorithm. Other Rams fans come in and then our community gets bigger because of you. So, yes. Get ready, Ramley, for this offensive line to get bullied constantly by aggressive defensive lines. Yeah, I don't know how to feel. I mean, I get it. I get the uncertainty about it. I do kind of like what they're doing on the offensive line because I don't think the offensive line lacks talent. I think the offensive line needs to just stay healthy. But, I mean, if you get some good depth this year, which is maybe what the Rams will do, you know, they'll just go after depth, then maybe they'll be fine. I don't know. Stafford's playing for his Hall of Fame case, same as Cooper Kupp. What about Bruss? Bruss is going to have to work his tail off to get into the starting lineup if what we're seeing is true. I mean, it sure seems like Coleman Shelton is going to be the starting right guard, but stranger things have happened. Same here. I do not think the Rams are going to sign Zeke Elliott from the Cowboys, although he's only 28, but I wouldn't sign him if I were the Rams. I don't think they're going to sign him. Corbett. Oh, well, yeah, of course. I mean, I still don't know how the Rams looked over everything and said, you know what? We're not going to pay Austin Corbett. I don't know, man. There's no statistical analysis, evidence, analytics, tape to justify not paying Coleman Shelton, or not, I totally forgot his name. It's literally right in front of me. Austin Corbett. There's nothing to justify not paying him. They just made a mistake. They've made a few of those lately. Go Rams, who's out till the death. Orlando Brown signed with the Bengals. He did. Let's see. I wouldn't call him a bum. I think he's a pretty darn good player. When you find a guy like that in undrafted, or he wasn't undrafted, I think he was undrafted, yeah. But when you find a guy like that in waivers, I mean that's good player, pro player scouting. Like the Rams deserve credit for finding a guy like that. I believe the Cardinals or the Colts released him. I forget who it was. Maybe both of them did. Who would say is better at left tackle, Nopum or Jackson? If you say Jackson, then what do you do with Nopum? Remember that Nopum hasn't been good at left tackle or left guard. I wouldn't say that's necessarily true. I think Jackson's the better left tackle, but Nopum he's definitely had some moments. And I think he's probably a better left tackle than left guard, but he's not a horrible offensive lineman in general. Like, I think he can definitely, if he's healthy, he can definitely play left guard. I hope not. I'm rooting for the guy. I like him. I liked the pick. I mean, very solid move. Going to be underrated, but, I think it's a solid move for sure. Yeah. I mean, exactly. I think really if they stay healthy, they're gelled, then I think the offense will be fine. But if they get hurt, that's like any year though, right? You could have the best offensive line in the league, but if they all get hurt, you're not gonna you're not going to have the best offensive line in the league. You're going to struggle. So, yeah. Adrian Amos. I didn't know he was a free agent. But to be fair, there's a lot of players that are free agents that I didn't know. Jackson will be fine. Jackson had a blood clot, but he's all good. Like he's confirmed ready to go. So he should be fine. Yeah, legendary. Hey, when they were healthy, they didn't have their bad games. It's when they started losing guys left and right. You can't have a good offensive line if you're constantly getting hurt. You can't have that continuity. You can't gel. You can't build rapport. I mean, it just doesn't, What's up, Preston? Dustin Hopkins. I think the Rams might just sign a guy in UDFA or, draft somebody. I don't know if they're going to pay a premium for a kicker. I don't agree with that. Cam Akers, if you take his average, if you average his stretch, like his end of the year stretch, his statistics, if you average that over a 17-game season, it's a top 3 running back in the NFL. And then, Kyron Williams is a guy that they're very, very interested in. They very much like. He was faster than he ran in the 40 because they got him on the GPS and, using their GPS tracking, they really like him. They love him in pass protection. So I think they get another running back. They also do like Ronnie Rivers. I don't think they're horrible at the running back position. Definitely I think it's an overblown need. I don't think it's a need. Like people are talking about like it's big. I don't think it's a big need at all. I like this move. The line wasn't good last year, but Shelton was the best piece. Yeah, I really like Shelton. I mean, I didn't at first, but I think he's really grown on me. Yeah, Exotic. Exotic's happy about it. Shelby Harris. I mean, I think he's a good player and, good locker room guy, but I just don't really see them doing that. I think they're going to go more youth around Aaron Donald. I don't think they're going to bring in any veterans on the defense. Maybe they might. I don't know, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think more likely than anything, they would bring in like a veteran corner or safety. But I think they probably like the way their defensive line looks, even if they lose Greg Gaines and, A'Shawn Robinson. Matt Ariza, isn't he's playing soccer overseas, I think, right? Playing soccer in Mexico. Yeah, I thought I read something about that. Ankrum is still on the roster. I'm not saying there's no chance Gaines comes back, but I'm not getting a vibe that Gaines is going to be back. Yeah, career change altogether. Jake the Snake, the Rams aren't going to sign Gaines or Robinson. I'm not expecting it. If they sign anybody, it's going to be Gaines out of those two. But if they sign anybody, it's probably going to be Nick Scott. That's the only guy I could really see them bringing back. Him or David Edwards. I feel like those are the most realistic. Troy Hill also is in play, and so is Traven Howard. That's kind of where I stand right now. I know they also want to get a deal done with Marquise Copeland. They just don't have a lot of money to do all this. Maybe. I do not know, though. Exactly, P-Train, which I think is lost on a lot of people, is that they do have a third place schedule. It doesn't mean that it's going to be necessarily easy, and it's going to be incredibly ignorant to assume that everybody they play is going to be the same as they were last year. But third place schedule does help. A first place is clearly better. We didn't have any dramatic fall offs, so it's not like a first place schedule would have been like nerfed, so to speak. So I think third place, you feel pretty good. You're going up against the Aaron Rodgers-less Packers. Maybe you can get a win there. You're going up against the Giants next year. You can say what you will. Obviously, they've added some pieces, but I mean, I don't think that's not a winnable game. So you got the Packers, you got the Giants, and then you have, I believe, the Saints, which I don't think is like not possible to be won. Like I think they could beat Derek Carr, and the Saints. So you have those, and then you're playing that division, the AFC North. So you have the Steelers, who I think are beatable. You have the Ravens, who I think are beatable, because we don't even know if Lamar Jackson is going to play, right? We don't even know if Lamar Jackson will be on the Ravens. Right now, some people think he could go to the Colts. We'll see what ends up happening. So you have that. Then the Browns, I think, are beatable, and the Bengals are the one team where I'm like, okay, the Bengals right now are ready to compete for a Super Bowl. I have them playing the Lions in the Super Bowl. That could change. As of right now, that's what I have. I'm leaning towards the Jets, though. I'm leaning towards putting the Jets in the Super Bowl. I think they're going to be really good with Rodgers. But my point is that you look at the Rams and who they're playing, and you're like, oh, okay. And then who is their... I got to look this up. Rams 2023 schedule. Who is their 17th game? Who's their 17th game? 17th game is... Are they not playing? Oh, they're playing the Colts. The Colts are the 17th game next year. So they're playing the AFC North and they're playing the Colts. The Colts are beatable, right? Colts are beatable. They got a brand new head coach. There's going to be some changes in with the Indianapolis Colts. The Rams are playing a schedule where, let's be honest here, let's just say this team goes back to being a very good offense. Now, let's just say they're 25th in the league in defense. Let's just say that right now, okay? If that's the case, they can split with Seattle. They get swept by the Niners, so that would leave them as 1-3, right? I would say they sweep the Cardinals, so they'd be at 3-3. Okay, so 3-3. Then you have the Eagles. I think they lose, so 3-4. Washington, we'll say they could win that 4-4. The Saints, they could win that 5-4. They could beat the Browns 6-4 and Steelers 7-4. Then you have Dallas, I'll say 7-5. Giants, I'll say 7-6. Packers 8-6. Ravens, I'll give the win. So that's 8-7. Bengals 8-8. Indianapolis Colts 9-8. And there you go. You go 9-8 with what you have right now with a really good offensive line, offense, not a great defense. You go 9-8. And I gave them losses that I easily could have given them wins. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, I'm not ruling this team out competing. I don't think this team is going to win a Super Bowl, but I think this team could make the playoffs. It is a really bad NFC. I keep saying that. It's one of the weakest NFCs you'll ever see. So I'll just say that right now. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for them to win 9 games. And they could win more, like I said. They could absolutely win more. LA Rams, appreciate you. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate you there. Yeah, that had to have been tough. Quarterback is 100% getting drafted. No doubt about it. They're drafting a quarterback. They did not bring back Bryce Perkins. They did not tender him. They could, have a deal or whatever. They could try to renegotiate or whatever. But as it stands right now, the Rams only have one quarterback rostered on the team. They are absolutely going to draft one guy. 100%. They might. I don't know. I mean, there's supposed to be a restructure coming. It'll probably be Cup, but we'll see what ends up happening. What's up, Goat? How we doing? What makes Jackson a better left tackle? He's more consistent and he doesn't get hurt as much. I think with Noteboom, he's a very athletic player and probably more athletic than Jackson, but I think Jackson packs a bigger punch. I think he has heavier hands. I think Noteboom would help you probably more with the interior. But again, Noteboom is probably a better left tackle than he is a left guard. I just think Jackson's a better left tackle at this point in time. Now, that could change. Noteboom could be awesome. He didn't have a great year last year, but he also was cut very short, didn't really get a chance to play into the season. So Agree with that. Totally agree with that. They might, but I wouldn't. I don't know. I would not hold my breath on that. I don't see the Rams trading up. I see them trading down from 36 and, probably recouping another third or maybe even another second. But I don't see them. I don't see them trading up. No. I don't, because I think Nolan Smith, with his numbers and his testing and his athleticism, he's going to go into the first round. He won't be there for the Rams. They'll have to trade in the first round. I just don't see him doing that because I don't see them giving away two chances at a pick, two chances at a prospect so they can get their guy in the first round. I just don't see it. That's funny. That is funny. I like Nopum, but that is funny. Most surprising, that's tough because, Jets, would they really surprise you if they were great with Aaron Rodgers? Probably not. The Bills with Allen? No. The Dolphins? I don't think they're going to surprise anybody. They just added Jalen Ramsey. They added Bradley Chubb last year at the end of the year. They signed him to a long-term deal. They have Tua. If Tua stays healthy, we know they can compete. The Patriots are probably in last place, de facto last place team. The 49ers are going to be really good. If the Rams were good, that might surprise people, but I don't know. Arizona's going to be really bad. Seattle, I think, is getting overrated. So then who else do you have, right? Dallas, I don't think they're going to surprise people. The people already think they're good or just at least solid. The Eagles, no. Giants, no. Washington, I don't see it. Washington is you can see Dan Snyder owns the team because Washington really just doesn't seem like they care about moving the needle. They don't really want to go in. They don't really want to win a Super Bowl, it feels like. I like Jacoby Brissett, but signing him and just having him battle with Howell, I don't know. I feel like they could do better. So then you have the Falcons. They're interesting. I think the Panthers are going to surprise people, if I'm being honest. Because the Panthers aren't being talked about. The Saints just got Derek Carr, and Tampa just got Baker Mayfield. So I don't know. I think the Panthers are going to shock people. Then in the AFC... the Lions, I don't think they're going to shock people because people are already really high on the Lions. Packers, they might be all right. I think Jordan Love is going to be okay. I think he'll be okay. Vikings, they already kind of put themselves on the map. Chicago has a long way to go. I understand some people are excited about them, fine, but Justin Fields has to throw more than, complete 9 of 21 of passes for, 75 yards or whatever. I need to see more out of Justin Fields as a passer before I start buying into that. So I'd say Panthers in the NFC. AFC, Jaguars are already on the map. Texans, I don't know. Depending on, they're going to draft one of the big three. So maybe the Texans, I'll keep them on that list. The Colts, if the Colts get Lamar Jackson, they're definitely a team to look out for. The Steelers are certainly a team. I think the Steelers are intriguing. So I'd probably go Panthers, and I'd probably go Steelers for now. That could change. I'm not so sure Greg Gaines will be back. Darnell Washington? No. Here's why. Okay. I like him. I like that he blocks downfield. I like that he's aggressive. I like that he's athletic. I like that he can make one-handed catches near the sideline. But here's the thing. I don't want the Rams to draft a tight end early. And keep this in mind. I'm not saying that Hunter Long is going to solve all their problems, but now they have 3 tight ends. Before Hunter Long, they had 2. One is literally going to be a free agent after the year. And the second one, Tyler Higbee, is literally going to be a free agent after next year. So it's one of those things where I was like, all right, you got to get somebody in there. Jacob Harris, I think, is on IR. I don't know if there's really much hope for him. I don't know. I mean, maybe there is, but Washington to me would be a little bit of like, you don't need a tight end. You have other needs. I would not go after tight end. I'm not saying they won't, but I wouldn't be a fan of that. That would be interesting. He was off to a great start early on in his career and then kind of started to struggle and then got cut. Maybe that's the guy they go after. I don't know. I don't know about that. I think the Rams might even trade a pick just to get Allen Robinson off their. I don't think they plan on giving Allen Robinson. They're not going to bring him back, and they can't trade it. They can't cut him, or it will cripple their cap. So, I think they're definitely going to trade him. They'll figure out a way to do it. I don't know when, but they are supposed to have a new uniform, and I don't know what it is. I don't think they're cutting Allen. They love Allen. Thank you so much for the 2. Really appreciate that, Alpers Cat. Anyone from the XFL you like for future signings? Well, I'll always give my buddy a shout out, Kyle Sloter. I think he's the best quarterback in the XFL, and he's a guy that I would be interested in for sure. Aside from that, I mean, I just knocked something over. I haven't been too into the XFL really, so I couldn't really tell you. Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I really like, what the hell's his name? I totally forgot the guy's name. He's from Iowa State, Hakeem Butler. There we go. I like Hakeem Butler. He never really got a chance in the NFL. I just never really felt he got a chance in the NFL. So I don't know. He'd be an interesting project to pick up and have him play in camp and see what he could do. But I do like Hakeem Butler, and I like the way he's playing in the XFL. I have a sneaky suspicion Odell is going to sign with the Jets. I think Odell is going to join Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wants him. I think Odell goes to the Jets. And I think he gets a chance to play with Aaron Rodgers after he spurned the Packers for the Rams. Could he come back to the Rams? I mean, if they were to pitch to him, hey, we're gonna give you this contract. It's going to be big in the back end. We're going to give you more guaranteed money than you would expect because we have the cap to pay it next year. But in return, you have to give us some leeway here. So it's a little bit of a pay cut from what you're normally going to get, but in return, you still get to play with this offense. You get to play with Kupp again. You get to play with Stafford. You get to return to LA where you're wanted. And we get you on a lower cap hit in 2023 so we can sign other guys and not completely cripple our cap. And 2024, you get a lot of guaranteed money, and we can't, no trade clause, right? So I'd give him a 2-year deal or maybe even a 3-year deal, where there's an elevation as the years goes on, but you have to be able to help us out this year because we're just in a spot. Like if you could scratch our back, we'll scratch your back, and we'll make maybe we'll make 2024 guaranteed at signing. And then 2025 will be an option. So we'll give you a player option. You can opt out and maybe see if you can get another payday. I don't know. I mean, that's the only way I could see that getting done is that Odell would have to kind of take a little bit of a pay cut in his first year if that was to get. I don't think that's what he's trying to do, but I think that's the only way the Rams could bring him back. I think he'll be a Jet. The Jets aren't afraid to spend any sort of money right now, restructure any sort of money. They're all in. They just got a quarterback who has about 2 years left, in the NFL. So we'll see what ends up happening with Rodgers. But if the Jets are all in, then yeah, I mean, I think they get OBJ. So does Ryan Reynolds selling Mint Mobile to T-Mobile trickle down to you, Jake? I know it probably doesn't, but it would be cool if it did. So it doesn't. Everything is exactly the same. It basically, from what I was told, is that Mint Mobile and T-Mobile, like it's just going to be, the service is going to be better now because they're directly linked, which is cool. I always felt like this should have been the case. So it's cool. And I'm lucky to be partnered with them. We still haven't been able to trade Allen Robinson. Yeah, that might take some time. Comp pick for Baker Mayfield. At the moment, it's a 6th rounder. Could fall to a 7th, depending on how other things go. But right now, it should be a 6th, according to, over the cap. Odell is going to be a Ram. We'll see. I'm not as confident as you are. That's true. Why is Jalen Ramsey switching to the Dolphins? Well, so he was traded by the Rams, but here's a little knowledge, and I have a source within the organization. Actually, I have 2 that told me this. 2 different people that work for the Rams told me this. Jalen didn't want to leave. Let me make that very, very clear, okay? Because there's a guy named Jason McIntyre who is on the Herd, Colin Cowherd's show, and wants to run his mouth that he was a locker room cancer, or wants to even, flirt with the idea it could have been his attitude. No, because if it was his attitude, then it would have been, at some point, Jalen Ramsey would have probably stopped playing. He probably wouldn't have played all 17 games and put his body on the line in a meaningless 5-12 season. So I heard that. I heard him talking. First off, I tweeted out before. I'll say it again. Okay. I trust a stapler and a loaf of bread more than I trust Jason McIntyre. You can clip that. I trust a stapler and a loaf of bread more than I trust Jason McIntyre. That was such a... I didn't see the full thing, but hearing that is stupid. Okay? So anyway, back to the whole thing, because I actually have 2 people that told me this. They echoed the same sentiment. Jalen was loved in the locker room. Jalen was loved in the organization. Everyone loved Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey did not want to leave LA. Okay? He never wanted to leave LA. What ended up happening was about a month ago, the Rams basically told him, we're not going to be looking at you as a long-term piece, essentially. I don't know exactly what they said, but basically what it was is that they signaled to Jalen that they weren't going to guarantee any more money on his deal. They were done with him, essentially. This was it. Okay. The bus stops here. Now we're getting rid of you. We're going to trade you. Because originally it was okay. There were some trades going on, like some trade talk and all of these, all these rumors and stuff. And then they basically told him, yeah, we're shopping you. So basically there were some people in the organization that were under the impression that he wasn't leaving and he was going to stay. I won't say who they were, but there were some people in the organization who basically were told that he was going to stay, and that no, don't worry, we're not trading him. So that obviously didn't happen well, and the whole Jalen thing, because people will be like, well, Jake, he wanted to go to the Dolphins. He said he's been praying for this for a long time. A long time is a month, guys. That's a long time. 30 days, whatever. That's a long time. Jalen was told a month ago he wasn't going to be part of the Rams' future. So basically he said, I got family in Miami. Miami, obviously tax-free, right? I want to go to Miami. And the Rams trade him there. Now, the Rams probably were told this, probably waited a little too long to do this, and Jalen Ramsey got tired of it, so him and his agent probably went to Miami and flat out told him, like, hey, we've already told the Rams this is where we want you to go, and kind of forced the trade. Does that make Ramsey a bad player? No. Does that mean the Rams kind of botched this? Absolutely. The Rams did botch this. That's why they hardly got anything for him. I understand they got a 3rd rounder and Hunter Long, but they could have gotten more had they just gotten out in front of this earlier. So that's what happened. Jalen was not a locker room cancer. Jalen did not want to leave the Rams. Jalen was bummed. But it's a business. He had already gone through a trade before, and he was ready to adapt. It's adapt or die, right? He was ready to adapt. So he's like, all right, trade me to Miami. And that's what happened. So I don't know why people keep spewing this garbage that he was this locker room cancer. No. He played all 17 games in a 5-12 season. That's not a cancer. That's the opposite. A locker room cancer would have sat out the whole year. As soon as he realized that they weren't going to the Super Bowl, no. Not entirely. Because I was told he said, basically, get me to Miami. And they took forever to do it. And then the agent got involved and whatnot. That's what I was told. So I don't think it's as simple as making Jalen out to be the bad guy. I don't think he screwed over the Rams. I think the Rams kind of screwed him over. He wanted to retire here. He wanted to have a statue outside of SoFi. He said it himself. He wanted to be a Ram. He wanted to retire a Ram. It didn't happen. He only got and that my biggest issue with that trade is that you traded 2 first rounders and I believe a 4th rounder. So you trade that capital for 4 years of elite cornerback play, and then you say, we won a Super Bowl. We're good enough. See, that's where I feel like the Rams made the mistake. You can say what you will about, don't pay corners, don't pay, whatever. He does more than he's just a corner. But I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake to trade away a 28-year-old best in the league cornerback after 4 years of elite play with what you gave up for him. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I just wanted to bring that up because people were like, what's going on with Jalen Ramsey? Like, did he really do this? And I'm like, from what I was told, that none of that happened. He's not a locker room cancer. And yeah, I mean, I've talked to a couple Rams players that would absolutely deny everything that was being said. Another thing that was thrown out there was he had something where he said something like, what was it? We need to have some dog in us, right? We need to have more dog in us. And apparently that didn't sit well with people, not any of the Rams teammates, but you know how the mainstream media is, they put out stuff about how, whatever, targeting him, saying that Rams players didn't like it. That wasn't true. The Rams players liked it. Alaric Jackson tweeted that out. Like, he retweeted that. There were guys that liked that. They liked being held accountable. He holds himself accountable. So, I mean, he just wanted everybody to be better. There's nothing wrong with that. So, yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, Ramsey's no longer a Ram. This is a football channel. It's not just a Rams channel. So I will be talking about him and the Dolphins throughout this year. We have our a football show tomorrow. Alexis and I will be talking about Ramsey, the trade. We'll be talking about Aaron Rodgers confirming that he's going to be going to the Jets. Talking about Stephon Gilmore trade. We'll be talking about all sorts of free agency news. And, of course, it will be an open Q&A for the NFL. So if you guys have questions, we'll be happy to answer those as well. I agree with that. It's not necessarily that, because I've said this before, I understand why they were trading Jalen Ramsey. I understand you want to repurpose, reallocate those funds. But it's like, I understood it if you can get a first rounder at the very least and use that money to reallocate to other positions. When you don't even get a first rounder for Jalen Ramsey, you have failed. So, let's see. Yeah, I saw someone said something about Byron Murphy. He signed with the Vikings, so he wouldn't be in play for the Rams. Jalen was a leader for sure. Great question, Gilbert. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I think this is arguably the best training staff in the NFL, and I think just sometimes you have those seasons where it's just injury after injury. The problem is, here's the thing. When you have all these new players constantly just, circulating in and out, all that in the offensive line, I think that there are guys being, they're playing out of position. What I mean by that is when you're playing a certain down or you're playing a certain play, and maybe you don't have the continuity, you don't have the trust, you don't really know what you're doing, you're just being thrown in there and you're putting your body in a weird position. Now all of a sudden your legs get tangled or whatever. I think it was a lot of that. Definitely think it was a lot of that. How about Hendon Hooker? That would be great. The problem is it's going to cost you a second. So if you don't want to pick him in the second round, you're probably not going to get him. Someone said something about Jaron Hall. I got to go back to that. I would really like Jaron Hall is a guy. When I watched him, I was like, he's not a franchise quarterback right now, but I could see a team developing him into one. I really like his game. I think the Rams would really like his game. I think just that pinpoint accuracy, can throw that back shoulder fade, but he also has really good mobility. I think he'd be a good number 2. That's probably who will be in my mock draft. I've yet to do a Rams mock draft. This is probably the longest I've gone without doing a Rams mock draft. I will at some point do one, and I think Jaron Hall will be in there. I do. Very high in Jaron Hall. I like him a lot, and I think he'd be a good fit. Now, I would prefer, just, at least this is just my opinion, I think they should go after Hendon Hooker. The problem is, I don't know about the second round. If he falls to the third, that's where I'm looking, I will say this right now. I don't think Coleman Shelton stops the Rams from drafting a center or guard. Okay, I don't think so. I don't think there are people that are like, oh yeah, now we're not going to get Tippmann or we're not going to get John Michael Schmitz. I don't think Coleman Shelton stops that, because I still think, I don't know, you can still find a role for a guy like that. You draft good football players. You draft football players that fit within your scheme, that fit within your system, that are coachable, that have assets. I don't think necessarily, you should worry about Tippmann and John Michael Schmitz fitting. So Hendon Hooker's long ball, okay, I get what you're saying. He puts a little bit too much drive. I'd like to see him throw with more touch. I think he's always trying to throw it hard, which works in college, but when you get to the NFL, you're going to have to throw with more touch. So I think that's one concern of his. I think he's really just, he's the jack of all trades, but he's the master of none. I don't think he's the best in this draft in anything, but I think he's smart. I think he, throws with accuracy. He has good velocity. I'd like to see him put more touch on his passes, but that is good that he has the velocity, to throw it into a tight window. He can run. He's mobile in the pocket. He steps up. Big thing with mobile quarterbacks, do you drop your eyes or do you keep them upfield? When you drop your eyes, you've basically surrendered the play. Now you're a runner, right? When you drop your eyes, you're a runner. You can't be a thrower. But when you keep your eyes up, like, instead like going down like this and you talk it, when you keep your eyes up and you survey and all that, like you pump fake or whatever, like you can now watch how the field's playing out, kind of survey a little bit and then see, okay, I can run, but also you've increased the likelihood that you could pass. And now teams have to respect that. You know what I mean? So that's a big thing that I notice. When you drop your eyes as a quarterback, escaping the pocket, now they know you're a runner. But if you keep your eyes up and, maybe something comes alive, you can still throw the ball. So Hendon Hooker's a great name for a jersey. He did just tear his ACL, but it's 2023, and ACL tears are not end of the world anymore. So, jumping into the pool. Man, I haven't watched too much film on I've only watched select positions. So I watched all the quarterbacks that I'm going to scout, all the running backs. I'm on the edge defenders. But let's look at, say, NFL draft, NFL mock draft, 2-round. Let's see. Any good 2-round mock drafts? Okay, CBS. We'll do this. So round 2, and that was a 1-round mock draft. So thank you, CBS. I don't know why that came up in the Google search. Okay. 2-round NFL mock draft 2023. I want to be realistic here, like who could actually be there at pick 36. All right, we'll go to the draft wire. Okay, so the draft wire has... Dude, did it happen to me again? Is this really just 1 round? Oh my God. Where's the full 2-round? Where is that? No one makes those anymore? Ugh. I'm looking for it. I just want to get an idea, like who could be available. I want to make it realistic. This is insane. All right, let's do NFL mockdraftdatabase.com. Let's put together, I'm not going to do a mock draft because I don't know the draft as well as I want to. I probably know it good enough to do a mock, but I demand excellence, folks. I'm not going to just do a mock draft without knowing everything about the draft. Can't just settle. So let's put in the Rams here. All right. Do fast, draft room. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. Okay, what gets there at pick 36? I'll tell you right now. All right, let's see. Who fell to me at pick 36? The Chargers want to give us a 2nd rounder next year, a 4th and a 5th. Reject. I don't know why. Cardinals, some reason want to trade a 2nd rounder next year, a 3rd and a 6th. Reject. Tampa, 2nd, 5th, and 6th. That gives you kind of a decent idea. I wouldn't take any of these trades, though. Yeah, none of these. Okay. So here are the players that fell to 36. Osiris Torrance, the interior offensive lineman out of Florida. That could be interesting. I think he's a 1st rounder, but that's interesting. Kaylee Ringo, the cornerback from Georgia. He's in play here. Darnell Washington, someone was talking about him, fell to the 36th pick. Jahmyr Gibbs fell to the 36th pick. Drew Sanders, Trenton Thompson, Maisie Smith, Will McDonald the 4th. The suggestion here is Kelly Ringo or Will McDonald the 4th. I'm kind of leaning towards Will McDonald here. Josh Downs, the wide receiver in North Carolina. Keon White, the edge from Georgia Tech. Musgrave, the tight end from Oregon State. Antonio Johnson, safety from Texas A&M. Felix Anadike Uzama from Kansas State. Jack Campbell, linebacker, Iowa. Adebawar, the Northwestern pass rusher. Isaiah Foskey, Notre Dame. Okay, so let's go back to the question that you asked. What players, you said players, not player, players are you jumping into the pool over that are potentially available at 36? So let me just say right now, no wide receiver, okay? I can see it. I know they probably are going to consider it. I know they want to focus on offense. No wide receiver. Offensive line. Put these names in the conversation. Osiris Torrance, if he's there. Okay? I like that. John Michael Schmitz and Cody Mauk. if those if those three are there in the at pick 36, that's good value. So then you have, what's up, Steven? Then you have linebacker. I'm going to pass on. Let's see here. I don't know why punter is up next, but obviously I wouldn't do that. Quarterback, Hendon Hooker at pick 62. So does he fall to pick 69? I got to tell you, Hendon Hooker at pick 69 is good value. So 36 is too early for me. I'd probably trade down if I was going to take Hendon Hooker, probably twice actually. So I wouldn't pick Hendon Hooker yet. Probably pick 69. I'd be looking at him. Tight end, no. Like I said, I don't want to pick a tight end super early. I kind of like Latu from Alabama. Like 4th, 5th round. Obviously, in the 4th round, assuming they trade 2 5ths for a 4th, which I feel like they're definitely going to do. Defensive line, not really interested. Maybe Carl Brooks later on. Zach Pickens from South Carolina. But I'm not really interested in picking a defensive line super early on. Not a great defensive line class. Cornerbacks. Clark Phillips is intriguing. Ringo is definitely intriguing. Tyreek Stevenson, Julius Brents, DJ Turner, Eli Ricks. I think they're all in play here. I have not watched a ton of corners yet, so I'm not going to say anything. Kicker, obviously not in play at all. Running back, if there was one here, their top are Jahmyr Gibbs, Zach Charbonnet, Devon A-Chain, Tajay Spears, Zach Evans, Tank Bigsby, Sean Tucker, etc. Okay. Gibbs is the only running back I would take at 36, and I would not take a running back at 36. I would not do it. But if they're going offense heavy, Gibbs would be a monster. I would not take a running back at 36. So then we look at offensive tackle. Bergeron, yeah, I think he's going to be more of a 3rd rounder. Duncan, Freeland, Steen, Morris. So the tackles are gone at this point. You're not going to really get a great tackle here in the 2nd round. This is more of an interior offensive line moment. We're going to favorite 3 guys here. Osiris Torrance, John Michael Schmitz, and Cody Mauk. So yeah, I would say those 3. I'll throw Ringo there. I'm going to say Ringo only. I think the other guys could probably get late 2nd, early 3rd. This is an early 2nd, almost a 1st round pick. So edge, Will McDonald, Keon White, Felix Anadie-Kuzama, Adebawar. I don't know why I can't say that guy's name, but I can't. I feel bad, but I can't. So those would be the 4 guys. Maybe Foskey, put him in there, and Derek Hall. Nah. Okay, so you got 5 edge guys. I need to keep watching edge. I'll have those updated. And then, I guess they're pretty low on Jordan Battle here at 74. I like Jordan Battle a lot. Man, I don't know. I think right now for edge, I would probably take an edge. I don't... The interior offensive line, Mauk, John Michael Schmitz, and Osiris Torrance I'm looking at. But I feel like they need an edge defender so badly. The suggestion for this site is Will McDonald. So I don't know. I gotta watch these guys. Like I said, I gotta watch these edge defenders. I cannot wait to catch up and have a full mock draft for you Rams fans. But right now I just don't have one. So as far as to answer your question, I'd probably go the 3 interior offensive linemen I mentioned, Torrance, Michael Schmitz, and Mauk, and McDonald, White, Anadiki Uzama, and then Adebawar. I think that Adebawar. That's probably his name. That's probably how you would say his name. And then Isaiah Foskey. So 5 edge, 3 interior offensive line. That's pretty much where I'm at. I love Jahmyr Gibbs. He's my favorite running back in the draft. I absolutely love watching his tape. But if they draft another running back, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. So, and then Kaylee Ringo also might make some sense. I need to watch more corners. So I will get to all that at some point. March Madness is really going to hurt me. So I gotta force myself, I love watching tape. I love, scouting players, but I'd be lying if I didn't say March Madness isn't going to be somewhat of a vibe killer. It's going to hold me back a little bit because I get absolutely, I don't know. What was I going to say? Cool. So those are the guys that we have. Voorhees from USC. I like Voorhees. But Voorhees got hurt. I don't think he's going to really be. He's going to be like a mid-round pick, I would imagine, with that injury. I really gotta tell you, I hate remodel. I probably will stop saying it, although I can't guarantee. Well, I'll probably say it on Believe in Rams, but I hate the word remodel now. I probably won't be saying it much. Guys, be sure to hit the thumbs up. Also notice the like button. We have 70 likes in here. We have 118 people in here. If everyone hit the like button, we'd have over 100, and that would be awesome. I would be very, very happy. Yeah. I think Hunter Long is a complementary piece for their tight end room because you have Bryson Hopkins, who's turned himself. He's kind of reinvented himself. He was more of a pass catcher, and now he's kind of turned into more of a blocker. And I think he can help you as a blocker. I think Higbee is a more well-rounded tight end. And then you have Hunter Long, who is more, I think he could help you in the red zone. In those 3 tight end packages, if you wanted to come out in that, or even, the 12 personnel. Apparently Odell Beckham Jr. has had positive discussions with the Cowboys. So whatever that means, that's according to Jordan Schultz. There are several teams interested, but Dallas would like to make it work. I'm told OBJ is seeking a multi-year contract. Yeah. We'll see. We'll definitely see on that. Anyway, what were we saying? Yeah, he's got good tape. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of him coming out because I had him as my 9th tight end, which it doesn't mean I think he's bad. But my biggest thing about him is that he's just not a great blocker. And when I scout players, this is something that you need to know in case you're wondering where I get my grades from. I scout everything about the player, right? So the big thing for me is that when I'm going through and I'm grading all of these, players or whatever, I'm grading everything about them, right? I think I've made it pretty clear. I've been pretty open, and transparent. For those of you who, haven't noticed or whatever, or haven't whatever. Here's that. So let's go right here. So yeah, this is my grading. I grade agility, ball security, burst, hands, pass protection, power, running, route running, long speed, ball carrier vision, awareness, and that gives me a total here. All out of 10 with decimals. So you can do 0.01 to 10. It could be 9.9. And this is Bijan. This is how I grade the running backs. So this is my scouting report, and I don't do anything crazy with the scouting report. I just put together scouting notes. And this is everything that I'm writing while I'm watching. So things that come up immediately, that's what I'm putting down. Like Robinson is a borderline elite talent. This is the first thought I had when I'm watching him. I'm like, Yeah, borderline elite talent, right? Then I'm like, he only fumbled 4 times in college and only once last year. That's that's probably something I had in between the tape when I went and looked at his stats and looked at his, his production, all that. Stop and start agility among the best in the class. Lacks the burst big play running backs have. That was the thing that I think was holding me back from calling him a generational prospect. I don't care about height and weight. Yeah, you notice something here. I don't have that anywhere on here because I don't care about the size of the player. I want to look far away from that. When I'm talking about a prospect, this whole scouting thing, I'm scouting based on what I see. What do they have? What intangibles do they have, right? The things that like other players lack, but they're tall. Like I want to know what they have. Can they pass protect? Can this guy be somebody that can catch out of the backfield? Is he smart? Does he have good hands? It's like that's something I want to know. So yeah, I did actually. Here's my Tajay Spears one. So, and the ACL tear that I listed that because I found out afterwards. So that just goes in the scouting notes. I don't make it a big deal. I don't make draft guides for this reason. I like to make it so it works for me, and it does. So, I have an early career 2nd round starter grade on him. I love Spears. I think Spears makes a lot of sense, especially for the Rams, because you're looking for a guy that has the home run hitting speed, which he has. That burst, I gave him an 8.8 out of 10. He's got 9 agility. His ball security 7.5 because his ball security needs to be better. All right. Like I love the guy, but I'll admit his ball security needs to be better. His hands are really good. Pass protection could improve 7.2. Right. Then you look at, his power. He doesn't have a lot of power, but here's the thing. Even if you are a small back, I'm going to scout your power. You may think this doesn't make a lot of sense, but I'm trying to find out who is the best overall. So that just letting you in on my process, on how I scout, different players. Like here's Charbonnet. Pretty well-rounded scoring, right? 8 awareness, 8 ball carrier vision, 7.8 long speed. I know he ran 4.52 at the combine. That's not what he runs on tape. He's slower than that on tape. I'm just being honest. Route running, he's all right. Not the worst route runner. He's all right. 7.5 is solid. Power, obviously we're going to give him a 9 here. He's got great power. Pass protection, 8.5. I mean, he's a good pass protector, really good pass protector, above average pass protector. Hands are good, not great, but they're good. Burst is lacking. His burst and his overall speed, I don't think they're good. They're about average or below it or around it. Ball security is pretty good. I'd say above good. And then agility. Like I think I was impressed with his agility. Gibbs. Gibbs is a guy, look at this, 9 agility, 9 ball security. Guy just doesn't fumble. He fumbled 3 times in college. He had 0 in 2022. So, Gibbs fumbled at Georgia Tech, but then he went to Alabama. He took care of the ball better, 9.5 burst. That's the highest burst grade that you're probably going to see out of any running back. Hands are good. Pass protection, it's all right. It's average. No, I'd say I'd say it's better than average. 7.5 is like better than average, I'd probably say. So that's not really fair. Power, he runs with a okay amount of power. Okay amount of power for Gibbs. He's not a power runner, but, solid. Route running, he's a good route runner. Long speed, 9.5. So, for those of you who don't know, I put burst first 5 yards. I feel like this is a good, I put that there just in case I showed it to anybody. Burst versus long speed. Well, what is that? Well, long speed is going down the field. It's the 40-yard dash, 9.5. Guy ran a 4.3, right? That is long speed. Burst is the first 5 yards. It's how explosive you are. Talk about the quick first step that edge defenders have. Burst is the first 5 yards. What are you doing with that first 5 yards? How do you explode out of a cannon, or are you a gradual runner? Do you start taking off over time? Do you start pulling away? You can have both. Guys, like for instance, if you want a good example, Mr. Bijan Robinson here lacks burst. He doesn't explode. He doesn't shoot out like a cannon. Okay, when he comes through the offensive line, He doesn't get shot out like it's the Rock and Roller Coaster and you're at, Hollywood Studios in Disney's Florida. But he's got great long speed here at 8.8. And his long speed is why he ran a 4.47. Burst does not tell you about the 4.47. You can measure burst in the splits. If you look at a 10-yard split on a 40-yard dash, that is going to tell you what a guy's burst is. And not entirely, because they're not even wearing pads. They're not in their football attire and everything, but you get the point. That's what burst is. That's supposed to, that's essentially what's measured. So that's what I'll say there. Are there any secret diamond are there any secret diamonds projected in later rounds Rams could acquire? Great question. Keaton Mitchell, not getting enough talk. I gave him a second round grade. I think the guy is electric, explosive, can take any run to the house. Pass protection, not going to really help you. But I think if you're the Rams right now, you don't need a guy in pass pro. You need a guy that's gonna hit, go to another level, right? Keaton Mitchell is going to get to the next level. He's going to house a run. You're looking for a guy to hit a home run. You're looking for a guy to hit the big 40-yard dash, right? This guy ran a 4.3. He doesn't have power because, he's 5'7", $179. But he's a great route runner. Could probably even play slot receiver if you asked him to. 9.5 long speed. That's the same as actually I gave him the same burst and long speed as Gibbs. So what separates him and Gibbs, and why Gibbs is the first rounder and he's the second rounder? Because the thing about him is that Keaton Mitchell doesn't offer the pass protection or the power that Gibbs offers. That's the difference. So anybody else? Let's see. Roshan Johnson's an interesting one. He ran decent. Xavier Valade. Eric Gray, we just interviewed. Now, when I say backup capable and spot starter, this is what I'm talking about, like day one, right? That's developmental starter. That's how that should read to you. Eric Gray is a developmental starting running back. He's one of the craftiest runners in the draft. And he's got great agility. Ball security's all right. Pretty solid. Good hands. Power. I think, he's a powerful runner. If you guys haven't already, be sure to check that out after this. Check out the interview Alexis Kraft and I did for Downtown Rams and a football show. We interviewed Eric Gray. So, yeah. That's just giving you a sneak peek into basically what I do. And if you're wondering why I have the colors the way I do, I just love that color combination. There's no other reason for it. So, yeah. Am I drinking again? What do you mean? The thing, though, and I don't mean to, discredit Montgomery, but you can find a Montgomery in the draft. I don't think Montgomery is a guy that, you can't possibly replace. Yeah, happy to. I'm trying to get better with visuals. I talk a lot, but I think visuals kind of give everyone a little bit of a break. Oh yeah, I don't have the Miller Lite anymore. I only had one tall boy. Just happened to have it, and I was feeling Miller Lite that night. I don't know. I do need to get some beer though. I will say that. What's DOS? I don't know. I love that. The neon, yellow green type of scheme with the black and then the silver. Microsoft. Is it Microsoft DOS? I don't know what that is. I'm 27, so I probably don't know what you're talking about. Pre-Windows. I got you. Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm getting excited because when I get to that point where I've done everything I want to do and, I have the draft all in my mind and I have every prospect scouted that I want to scout. The mock drafts are going to be fun. They're going to be fun and they're going to have a lot of insight, and I'm excited for that. Thank you. I love the color scheme. I thought about making that my actual color scheme, but I think by having just my picture in there, I don't feel like I'm coming off as I have a bias. But it also, like, if I had that color scheme, then I feel like it would turn some Rams fans away. And since I mainly cover the Rams, but I do other things and I don't want to alienate anybody. So I just figured I would just put my regular picture. Thank you, Kareem. Yeah, we loved interviewing Gray. The peanut butter jelly wings that Alexis brought up, Gray and I had a fun time, trolling her for that. That was a good segment. I liked that. I think she was a little upset, but not really. But you know what I mean. It was kind of funny. She's like, "Yeah, do you like peanut butter and jelly wings?" And Eric Gray's like, no, I'm not trying that. I've heard of Jake Bobo. Yeah, probably like a 6th, 7th round receiver. Yeah. Thought he had some decent tape from, like, when I was watching DTR, like he stood out for me. Maybe. I'd be all for it. We'll see what ends up happening. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate you. Yeah, I think you got to go with the selfie. I don't know. Like, I had the logo. I paid to have the logo made. I like the logo, but I don't know. There's something about having that selfie, and it reinforces that I'm just a down-to-earth dude. Like, if you met me at a bar, I would probably have a drink with you, probably talk with you. You know what I mean? Like, that is, like, how I appear on camera is how I am. Now, to a degree, because I don't go out a ton. I'm more of a shut-in, so to speak. I work nonstop. I probably should get better with that balancing act or whatever. But, I'd like to think if you came up to me and you're like, "Hey, yeah, Jake," I'd probably, ask like who you were, because if you have random people coming up to you, it'd be like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, I wouldn't do that. That would be kind of rude. But I'd be like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" And then I would hope you would be like, "Hey, I saw your, I watched your YouTube channel," and I'd be like, "Oh, you do now, all right?" And I'd be like, "Thank you," and then we would have a conversation. Yeah, I mean, it's weird because, like, I live in upstate New York, and most of you live in LA. I've had a couple people in this area be like, "Yeah, I listen to your podcast. I didn't know you were based out of this area." I'm like, I don't know if I told you guys, this one guy, and by the way, he watches the channel, so shout out to him. But I was at the grocery store, like right by my house, and I was talking on the phone, I think, not in line. No, I'm not rude. But I was talking on the phone, like going around the aisles, and I still feel kind of rude, but like at least I'm not talking on the phone in line. I hate that. So I'm talking on the phone going through the aisles, and someone stops me and was like, "Hey, you sound like that, do you do a Rams podcast by chance?" And like the guy recognized my voice. I was also wearing a Rams hat, so that probably had something to do with it. But still, I mean, the guy stopped me because he recognized my voice talking on the phone. And yeah, I mean, we talked, and he's like, "Yeah, I watch your show all the time. I'm a big Rams fan." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome." I mean, just think about that. In my backyard. I live in New York, folks. There are more Rams fans here than you would think, but still, that was pretty cool. Oh man. Tomorrow we got March freaking Madness. Who's excited? Probably not as excited as I am, but I'm very excited, to say the least. Very excited. We got the I'm going to post the bracket group. Let's see here. All right. If anyone wants to join the bracket group for March Madness, we have about 15 plus in there. Winner, I'll send you, whatever. Like if you win, I'll probably send you like a piece of merch. But yeah, if you want to get involved, it's free. Also, you know what else is free? Discord's free. Link is in the description, and I'll also drop a link. It's 24/7. Pretty much majority are Rams fans. Everyone is welcome. But if you're looking for a really good community filled with people that are just really cool, you could check out the JE community, and link is right there. Jake, do you think the Rams will restructure staff for Kupp and AD's contract this offseason? So probably Kupp and AD. Stafford wouldn't save them like any money, so they won't do that. Not as interested in your past? Gotcha. Problem with Zach Wilson. He's not going to be a Ram because Mike LaFleur's there. Maybe after Mike LaFleur, but I can't see that. You should make a bracket. Click on the fantasy.espn link and make your own bracket. It's free. It's cool to be able to follow something, Can't hurt. It can't hurt. Think we'll probably call it a night. Getting a little tired. But hey, really appreciate you guys. We've been live for almost an hour and 30. Love it. Tomorrow, we are going to be recording the hell was I the hell was I gonna say? Oh, we're gonna be recording Believe in Rams. Cam and I. Should come out later that night. Also, we're going to I'm going to be going live with Alexis for a football show. I think right around 8:45 Eastern, I think. So 8:45 Eastern, in all likelihood, a football show. And Believe in Rams. I'm going to check what time we're recording that. I'll try to get that out ASAP. So Believe in Rams with Cam. Okay, so we're recording around like 3 Eastern. So probably get that out around 6. Premiere it. It'll be about an hour. So you'll probably get done at 7 Eastern time. And then you'll have about an hour or so before Alexis and I go live. We will be doing more of a Q&A focus. I think the last time, our first episode, we're just kind of feeling things out, doing some different topics and whatnot. But we're going to do more Q&A and be more fan interactive this time around. So I know some people might like that. Some people might not. But we're testing things out. We're just trying to, get AFS off the ground. We had a really good debut show. I'm going to say the numbers now, because they were really good. I believe they were really good. I mean, really good for like just starting the show. Let's see here. Where were the numbers? Mason, show me the numbers. All right. Let's see. Live, we got. Wow. Since then, I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 live streams. When I said I was going to be consistent, I guess I really meant it. Damn. Okay, so a football show. Episode 1. We generated 1,000. Oh, hold on, that can't be right. This is since it was published. So it's probably more than that, I would imagine. We generated 1,767 views. So almost 2,000 views on our debut episode. That's a hit right there. We'll take that all day to the bank. Like that's some good stuff. Love to see it. So 1.7K, all for it. We'll see what we can do tomorrow. But yeah, AFS will be tomorrow night. Hope you guys tune in for that. And yeah, I think that's gonna do it. 2 live streams tonight. I'm exhausted. I might watch Pulp Fiction. I don't know. I just kind of feel like watching it. So might do that. And then tomorrow's another busy day, right? The grind doesn't stop, even if you want it to. So appreciate you guys. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And I'll see you guys in multiple capacities tomorrow. Later, folks. You ever get those ridiculous social media scams where people pretend to be somebody you're friends with and tell you can make a lot of money? I know I do. It's why I'm very excited to partner with today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an easy-to-use app that essentially packages a bunch of services to stay safe online all in one. Aura protects you from scammers and hackers. They scan the web for all sorts of data leaks and alert you as soon as they find anything. Aura is like the offensive line for a quarterback, consistently offering you protection from suspicious and malicious activity. They have a VPN built in that keeps your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. They'll even alert you if someone's trying to open up a credit card or a loan in your name. Did I mention they protect all your devices from viruses, malware, spyware, and any other things so the bad guys can't break in? Aura can even manage what your kids do on their devices. You can set limits and restrict them from specific apps. They have a password manager as well, so you don't have to rely on an outdated Rolodex or that sticky note that's been on your desk forever. There are apps that do all of these things, but there isn't one that tackles everything the way Aura does, which is why I say Aura is a 5-man offensive line and you're the quarterback. So head on over to aura.com/JKB. You can find it in the description and start your free trial today.